My favorite thing about being part of the open classroom is being part of a community of learners, being able to participate as a whole family.
It isn't about A's and B's and C's, it's about building and empowering the person.
I could write a book on all the reasons why I feel like it's the best place for all children.
The open classroom talks about teaching the whole child, but it's more than just talk, it's a reality.
When I chose the open classroom, I thought of it as a program where my daughter could be nurtured in an environment that was accepting of who she was.
For our family, what meshed for us was it was an extension of our parenting. That we were, we had this attachment kind of parenting, and that we wanted to empower our children.
First and foremost, I wanted a place where I could be intimately involved in their education. I was also looking for a community of parents and teachers who had the same idea about what education should be for young children.
It seemed like a perfect place where our child was going to be treated as a child and not as a student.
One of the very striking things about watching how learning takes place in the open classroom is it looks very different from traditional school.
As I walk into an open classroom on a typical day, I am instantly seeing children engaged, content children that are happy to be where they are, happy to be learning.
There was this bubbling of talk. And the children were laughing and smiling and busy doing this and that and the next thing. But it was so obvious that they were constructively busy.
It's very much not like a factory model of school where you show up and you're in the assembly line and you're in a desk and you put the widgets together. It's very much the antithesis of that.
When you walk into OC, that's one of the first things that you see. There are round tables that are set up. You start out the morning in a circle where everybody quite often has an opportunity to talk as an equal.
On Saturday, I went to the Nutcracker.
Oh, I think circle talk is probably I feel it's the most important part of the day. It sets the tone for the rest of the day.
I think it helps to build trust. I think it empowers each of the children.
It was Santa Lucia, and then a star boy, and then two maidens.
Maybe I came to circle with nothing to say, but you'd say something, and my thought process would make a connection with yours, and then I would say something.
They can get out what is going on in their little social life or their emotional life right there, and then have respectful listeners and feel acknowledged, and then move on to the learning and the business of the day.
The open classroom gives her the opportunity to use her voice and teaches her how to interact with other people and other adults and to really ask for what she needs.
Dear class.
The child is celebrated in the open classroom. You walk into any classroom and the voices you hear are the children's voices. That very healthy opportunity for children to be engaged in what they were doing and being able to talk about it and do so in excited voices spoke to me as a parent, and that's what I wanted my children to think learning was about.
I enjoy co-oping because you get to see each of the little personalities in your classroom and you get to work with them one-on-one.
I have this opportunity to bring something to the classroom, to bring something to this group of children that will really push the envelope for them.
When I describe, or I try to describe the OC to friends, that's the first thing I talk about, is how important it is for us to be there with them, to see them during their successes and their trials.
We come into the classroom and we've brought our talents with us, and we care.
I feel really fortunate to be able to get to know my kids' peers, get to know their friends, just as kids.
We actually are invited into the classroom by the teacher to just be a learner with the kids.
That's the essence of the learning community, is that we as parents, we learn and we grow, and the community celebrates that too.
Being present in a very real way with my child and being engaged in my child's education in a way that just can't happen if you're not actually in the classroom.
I learned how important it was to really listen to kids and to respond in appropriate ways and to respect children and their ideas.
Learning from other people's experience has been so important to me as a new co-opper and as a parent. I appreciate having other parents around me just for the experience.
Plus, you get that whole sensation of to have said, you know what, not only was I a teacher at home for my child, but I taught my child some great things at school.
I've learned more about my daughter by seeing her interact with other parents than I think I ever could have known. And I consider that a gift. Whenever they get out of the open classroom and go into other types of classrooms, their abilities to interact with adults confidently are just head and shoulders above their peers.
All of my kids are really, from the time they were little, like all open classroom kids, become really comfortable with adults and speaking with adults and sharing equally.
For the long term, especially, the children are going to know themselves better and be more confident to interact with others in the world and have a voice and have an opinion if from such a young age that's respected.
If I can have a 10 or 11-year-old that can sit in a room full of adults and share ideas and have a conversation, the program will have succeeded in my mind.
Sometimes as parents and sometimes as kids, we're asked to maybe take one step beyond what we're comfortable with as we are a community of learners, and I appreciate that and I'm inspired by that all the time.
Of course I went through challenges there. That's what it is to be a kid. You're challenged by many things in your own self and in the world around you, but the open classroom was a really safe place to confront those challenges.
Sometimes they make a mistake and the hope is they learn not to fall apart, but they learn, okay, so what went wrong? Okay, I'm going to try it this way this time. And that the child learns to become the problem solver.
More importantly, not being afraid to make a fool of yourself. Not being afraid to get it wrong, to sound silly. The way that the students interact together, they become support systems for each other.
Often you can look in a classroom and a child is having an issue or a problem, can't figure out how to do this, and a child will jump in and say, oh, have you tried this? And that's the foundation of a learning community, that not only one person has the answers, but we all have the answers and we can all help each other.
I think one of the most important things I learned at the open classroom was how to be a strong, good member of a wonderful community.
And your child feels an intimate part of that community, as do you as a parent.
We're all there for the same reason, to be not just learning reading and writing and arithmetic, but also how to be people in the world.
The welcoming atmosphere of the community just brought us right in and made us feel really comfortable.
How wonderful it is to get to know each other's children, the other children in the class, and know that other parents are looking out for our children and building a relationship with our children.
Really, that's the essence of a community, where you care about other people as much as you care about your own.
We know about things, we're part of the community. If we're not there at the time when something happens, we'll hear through it through a parent friend of ours who was there at another time.
We are a group of people who are coming together to create bonds and to have a village and to have everyone be supported in areas where they're weak and help and receive help and give help in areas where they're strong.
My children's lives were so enriched by this. The sense of community and learning is so valuable.
Our children are our most precious gift, and here are other people taking care of my child as much as I would. I mean, it's I don't know how to say it, except it's a beautiful thing.
The open classroom is a great safe place for my child because it's such a child-centered environment.
Having a place where fun is not only accepted, but that it's encouraged means that learning is not going to feel like a chore, and it's not going to feel like doing homework, and it's not going to feel like a task. It's going to feel like discovery.
The expectation isn't that you come in, you sit down, you listen, you absorb it, and then at the right particular time you spew it back out again. That isn't, that isn't what is celebrated at the open classroom. Those voices, those thoughts and those ideas are what is celebrated.
I think it allows kids to feel safe, feel respected, feel like they're being heard, they're being allowed to be who they are, to be themselves.
My daughter's in the open classroom, I think mainly because she's nurtured there. She is completely able to be herself at any given moment, and that includes some scary emotions as well.
It isn't about I have all the knowledge and you have nothing. It's about celebrating this learning community, about what happens in the classroom and the sharing and the involvement.
We're about to have a solstice ceremony, which is a great thing. It's incredible. I've never been anywhere where there was a solstice ceremony. And the whole school, everybody's going to walk out into this lot and hold hands in a big, huge circle and sing to the light and sing for peace. I don't believe they'll be doing that at many of the other schools around the valley.
Probably most fundamentally, the OC gave me a love of the world and a willingness to accept it in an open-hearted way. I would say that is the true gift I got from it.
We're all invested here. We all care about each other. We all care about this place. We care about what we do here.
It's a place that celebrates children, all different kinds of children, and we celebrate those differences.
There's no place like the open classroom.